Everybody again. So now in the third video in the installment for this, we talked the first two videos. First off, we talked about what we're looking at for your thyroid in order to evaluate it even appropriately enough to get to this kind of level, right? So we talked about that probably 90%, if not more than that, cases of thyroid are actually the version of Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune version of hypothyroidism, meaning your immune system starts attacking the thyroid, which causes the hormones to go low. And in this case scenario, in the second video, we talked about what actually autoimmunity is and why it happens and what causes it. So we talked about in that video at length that essentially the cells need two things. They need the right materials, the building blocks that we're going to put together, the proper fats, the proper proteins, the proper mineral balances and cholesterols and things like that. And then the second portion of it is we need an electrical charge around those cells, okay? So that begs the question, the nutrition side is kind of straightforward. That begs the question, how does the cell get this energy to begin with? Well, the interesting part about this is there's about 6 different ways that the body makes energy. And of those 6 different ways that the body makes energy, actually only one of them requires food. The other 5 ways are energy sources that the body gets from the environment. And it's actually, that makes up probably about 90% of the energy that our cells use to create that electrical charge. And when we get those electrical charge moments inside the cell like that, that's what allows it to stay full, stay circular, keep the pattern that is on record with your immune system so your immune system doesn't think it looks weird and doesn't think it looks mutated and doesn't want to attack it. So of that energy, 90% is coming from the environment. It really has everything to do. Autoimmunity has everything to do with keeping this electrical charge, okay? So if we get it all from the environment, well, what are you going to do? You're going to quit your job, go move by the equator, live on the beach. Those things sound like wonderful ideas, and if you can do that, great. For most people, it's how do you fix this in an everyday, real-life scenario? Well, part of it now, and this is the future of healthcare, and this is where everything is going, is using technology to basically put that energy back into the system. So simply enough, we have a technology for every different way that your body will get energy from the environment. We have a technology that will mimic that and put that energy back into the body, sometimes even in a greater amount than what you would get from just being in the environment. So first off, the first thing that we typically use is called PEMF. PEMF stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. Big fancy word, but essentially what that means is the Earth itself gives off this electromagnetic field. And our body's exposure to that electromagnetic field causes our cells to charge. The same exact way that you would plug your cell phone into a charger at night is what our body does when it's involved in that electromagnetic field that the Earth gives out. That lets your cells carry that cellular charge. So like I drew on the last video, that's going to let us have circular, normal, healthy looking cell structures. Now what happens is as they start to lose that charge, they start to flatten, they start to get an odd shape, but also what happens is they tend to be attracted to one another and they will stick to one another. So you'll get a grouping of cells that will literally look like what they call coin rolling, where they look like a roll of coins that are stacked together one on top of each other. Without that electrical charge, those cells stack together. They tend to attract to one another. They tend to become more and more of, in this case, your thyroid. And your immune system doesn't know what that is. On top of that, think of this from a nutritional level. If you take a lot of nutritional supplements, with most of the time people who have these issues are taking a lot of different things, what happens is they all go around here, but cells that are this flat and this deflated and they don't have any electrical charge, do you think they're uptaking a lot of those nutrients into the cell? They're not. Maybe you're getting 5 cents on the dollar for everything you take to get inside of that cellular structure, which is why a lot of the times nutritional ideologies alone with this, even though they're important, they don't solve the whole picture. The autoimmune disease is still there. The person may feel better, but they still have antibodies and the autoimmune disease is still there. In this, what you can do is by using pulsed electromagnetic field, for most people right away, it starts to recharge those cells of the body. So it starts to make these cells immediately break apart and then start to look like all of these cells in between here. The amount of time that would take, either doing it by environment or doing it with just nutrition, would be an enormously large amount of time. Whereas if you could do this in, say, 25, 30 minutes, you will see structural changes of the cells immediately, which we always check for, because that then allows us to know that right now, these cells immediately are going to be healthier. They're going to immediately start taking much more nutrition in. They're going to start taking more oxygen in. They're going to start pumping out more energy. Immediately, the whole body is going to start working better because you're able to start pushing the energy back into that cell that it was designed to work with in the first place. Pulse electromagnetic field is an incredibly powerful technology to recharge the entire body on a cellular level. Now, that's great for a global view of recharging the cellular structures, but we got to get specific here, and that's what microcurrent really allows us to do. Frequency-specific microcurrent allows us to target individual organs and cellular structures, along with other parts of the body as well too, nerves and things like that, brain tissue, but it allows us to target those areas and work on them individually, essentially changing the cellular structure in those areas, in this case like the thyroid, changing those cellular structures to get rid of the ones we don't want, save the ones that we can, and try to get those healthy, so the more that we make healthy-wise, we'll just have more to copy in a good manner, right? And rather than like one apple spoils the bunch, the more that are good, the more that will replace themselves with good. Microcurrent by statistics will lower inflammation by 30 to 60% in one session and increase energy production on a cellular level by 300 to 500% by research. There is nothing on this earth that will change structure like that, but when we can target it at your thyroid or your stomach or your pancreas or your joints or your connective tissue, you can make massive changes on immune system and autoimmunity and those organs in and of themselves. That being said, this is kind of a game changer. There's not too many people that are using this. This is really the biggest thing that makes the difference, but it's using all of this together that makes it really the difference. But using it as part of the whole, it really allows us to get very specific and target those areas. If someone's not using this, it's real hard to be able to get those antibodies ultimately to go away. And over the time, we've developed different strategies with different frequency combinations that will work for different types of Hashimoto's patterns, different types of thyroid patterns. It's something we've discovered over the course of time of using it on a lot of different patients. So microcurrent's a huge version of that. The ionizer. The ionizer is a really important one too, because your body essentially is making deals all the time. Your body has to pay to get things done and get paid to do other things. Inside of your body, the exchange of money, just like we do in everyday life. You know, I want to go get lunch, I give them money, they give me food. That's the exchange. Your body's constantly making those exchanges as well too, except your body uses hydrogen. Hydrogen is like the green cash money that's inside of your body. And the appropriate type of hydrogen and the appropriate amount of hydrogen that's in your system allows you to be able to do those things back and forth. So the ionizer pumps extra hydrogens into your body. It's like going into a struggling business and giving it a cash influx and saying, here's extra money, catch yourself up on your bills, get yourself back to where you need to be, and then from there you can start moving forward, because sometimes when you're so far behind, there is no moving forward. That's such a powerful ideology of being able to put hydrogen directly into the system. And of course, this is where things like proper water intake and proper breathing with oxygen contents come in, because obviously you're talking about hydrogens, H2O, hydrogens and oxygen, that's water, that's breathing the air. This is what our body uses to make energy and fuel. And to tag along with that, PBN stands for photobiomodulation, which again, incredibly fancy, it means light therapy. Light therapy, just like our bodies adore being in the sunlight, that's how we make vitamin D, is by being in the sun. Your body uses light at certain wavelengths, they're all different, but it basically uses light to create hydrogens in the system, extra electrons, so it can make more energy on a cellular level. Light therapy has a ton of repair capabilities inside of the body to stimulate. So now you can see, we're stimulating energy on a cellular level and getting real specific on that cellular organ systems that we want to hit in a big kind of way. The only last thing that we have to do is hit the nutrition and the supplements. And believe it or not, with nutrition, a lot of the times it's not so much what you're eating, it's the timing and the spacing of how you're eating it. But those are different for each person's metabolism, and that has to be set right so that your body's making cells in the best way possible. Now, you're also, in my world, I don't do a bag of supplements every time somebody leaves my office. You're not taking 200 different things, because that's not what's causing this. All I'm looking for from using supplements is, do you have all the raw materials? If I put all this energy in, if I bring all the workers to your house to be able to build the house or build whatever we're making, right? Do we have the raw materials? Because if we want to have everybody there to build it, but we don't have any wood to put the house up, well, then we're wasting time. Supplements are used to catch you up, to make sure you have the right building blocks for a short period of time. But if you do all of these things together, the body will start having enough energy to repair cell structures, but more importantly, to start making new cells and replacing those old ones. That's the biggest thing you can do, because if you did nothing but a cleanse, say you did a big cleanse or something like that, and that even took out some of the bad cells, if that bad cell got replaced by another bad cell, well, you've expended a lot of time, you've expended a lot of energy and effort and money, and you didn't get anywhere because your net is zero. A bad cell was replaced by a bad cell. You ultimately have to make sure that your body's making new cell structures, because if you can do that, all of those tissues in your body start getting replaced on a cellular level. Once enough of your thyroid looks like those normal cells, antibodies start disappearing because the immune system leaves it alone. Then it's just a matter of making sure that thyroid is making hormones all the way through those 10 steps like it should, and all of a sudden those Hashimoto's symptoms and those thyroid symptoms start going away in a big kind of way. So hopefully this video makes sense of how we're starting to tie this all together. I hope you enjoyed it.